Milwaukee-Eight was supposed to save Harley. Instead, it's turning into their biggest nightmare. Across the country, street glide, road glide, and road team owners are all reporting the same strange failure. One Harley quietly labeled normal, but lead bulletins tell a different story. For a year, the company allegedly knew what was happening inside these engines, chose to stay silent. Now, riders are losing back, resale values are collapsing, and lawsuits are stacking up faster than Harley can respond. Keep watching, because I'm about to show you the internal document that started the cover-up, and the one move every Milwaukee-Eight owner needs to make right now to protect their right. Promise that roar. We bought Harley expecting a legendary engine. What we got instead was silence. For decades, the Milwaukee roar meant more than power. It was pride, a heartbeat of the open road. 进这属 ride Harley, you carry the legacy of every rider who came before you. Though in street glide, road king, road glide owners started hearing that same engine choke, stall, or lose oil without warning. Something inside all of us went quiet too. Sound that once stood for freedom now echoed不着. At first, rider blamed themselves. Maybe it was a bad batch of oil, maybe a sharp cut corner. Nobody wanted to believe Harley-Davidson, a symbol of American craftsmanship, could have failed them. But when bike rode only a few thousand miles began sputtering, owners realized this wasn't user error. It was something deeper, something baked into the very heart of the engine. Milwaukee-Eight was supposed to be the company's crown jewel, a rebirth of its heritage. Instead, it was turning into a symbol of corporate neglect. You could feel the betrayal in every thought, threat, and garage conversation. Men and women who had ridden for 30 years now questioned whether their loyalty had been misplaced. They had people reliability and legacy, but what they got was oil pooling under their feet, and the company pretending nothing was wrong. Though we were not imagining things, there were papers showing they knew. A hint memo they never told you. Harley's own bulletin flagged the problem years ago and kept it hidden. Buried deep inside the company's internal communication was a document that quietly admitted what riders had been shouting about. Milwaukee-Eight had serious oil circulation and overheating flaw. The memo wasn't new either. Engineers had documented complaints from early production run, warning that the oil system could backflow and starve the engine at high speed. But rather than issue a public recall, Harley labeled it a service advisory, quietly sent to select dealers, and hoped nobody would notice. Those who did see it were stunned. The bulletin's language was deliberately short, describing customer-reported oil transfer concerns. It never said failure, it never said danger, yet in plain numbers, it showed that Harley had tracked thousands of similar cases across street glide, road king model. Mechanics had been reporting premature wear, dry bearings, and even full lock. Every sign pointed to a systemic issue, but the company's public stance remained that everything was fine. It wasn't. For riders who spent their life savings on a Harley, this was infuriating. The company that preached honesty and heritage had quietly chosen damage control over transparency. They didn't fight the issue, they managed it. While Harley protected its image, owners were stranded on the side of highways with seized engines and no answer. Technical detail in that memo shines a brutal light on what failed. If you've ever owned a Harley or felt let down by a brand you trusted, hit that right back right now. Drop your story in the comments, because the louder we speak together, the harder it becomes for them to hide. Riders in the mill, mechanics and riders started tearing into engines. What they found was unmistakable. In garages, backyards, in small-town workshops, Harley owners turned into investigators. Videos began appearing online, showing stripped Milwaukee-Eight with scarred pistons, clogged oil passages, and sludge where clean oil should have been. These weren't one-off defects. They were repeating patterns. Identical failures showing up across thousands of bikes, often at the same mileage. The message was clear. This wasn't rider abuse, it was a design flaw. Those videos spread like wildfire. Forums filled with photos of shattered bearings and metal shavings in the oil pan. Riders compared notes, sharing service records and oil samples. Some pooled money to hire independent engineers who confirmed what Harley had downplayed for years. The oil return system could fail under sustained heat, trapping oil in the heads and stopping the cranking. Mechanics broke the brand as much as any owner spoke up, saying the faults were real and preventable. Anger shifted from confusion to unity. Riders who once just swapped stories about chrome and throttle now shared spreadsheets of VIN numbers and failure dates. This was no longer a complaint, it was a movement. They were bashing Harley, they were demanding honesty from it, because for many of them, Harley isn't just a brand, it's family. Before we roll any further, check a description for the gear and accessories I actually trust. The same stuff that carried me through every mile of the story. no gimme, just what will. Now back to the truth, Harley never wanted Julie Hill, the CEO, walked to the mic. Out of nowhere, a new CEO stood before us and admitted the cover-up. Moment felt unreal. A company that once built its reputation on loyalty was now forced to face its most loyal customers. The press conference streamed worldwide. A new chief executive confirmed what Riders had long suspected. The company had known about the Milwaukee-Eight's reliability issues for years and had systematically downplayed them. His voice was measured, but the words hit like thunder. We did not respond quickly enough to concerns raised by our customers, he said. That was corporate talk, so we ignored you. In meetings, the emotion in the Harley community shifted from anger to vindication. For the first time, riders who had been dismissed as overreact finally had proof that vindication didn't feel like victory, it felt like hurry. Confession came too late for many who had already sold their bike. Thousands out of pocket for a new engine or lost faith entirely. CEO promised reform, better quality checks, and open communication, but trust once shattered doesn't return with a speed. Across America, riders gathered in small groups at local dealerships, watching the cliff on their phones, some shaking their heads, others just silent. This wasn't a scandal to them, it was personal. Their pride, their money, their identity had been tied to a machine that failed them. Still, there was a strange sense of relief in finally hearing the truth spoken a while. At least now, nobody could pretend it was a rumor. Cover up had a fight, a need, and a confession. That admission forces a question. How deep does it go when the oil won't go home? Your Harley engine doesn't die, it starts. That's not normal. The Milwaukee-Eight was built to deliver endless torque, the signature rumble that shook the ground. But inside its polished metal heart, something sinister was happening. Oil that should have flowed smoothly through the crank was backing up, trapped in the head, instead of returning home. When that happens, bearings run dry, fetching bill, and in seconds, the engine you trusted to carry you across the country locks up like a quench fast. This isn't rare, it's predictable. Thousands of riders have felt that silent fate as their bike lose pressure and stall mid-ride, leaving them stranded on the side of the road, with oil still sitting uselessly in the wrong way. They can't describe it like suffocation. They say the oil system's scavenger pump sometimes fails to pull fluid from the sump, leaving the engine to run half empty while the top end floods. Harley called it oil migration. Riders called it what it was, failure. What made it worse was the company's suggestion that riders were over-servicing, rapping too hard or using the wrong oil weight. When the same breakdown happens across freight grade, road team model, that's not coincidence, that's design negligence. Owners replaced parts, flushed lines, prayed it wouldn't happen again. Yeah, it kept happening. It didn't just lose power, it lost faith. Because every time that motor gasped for oil, carried a message Harley didn't want to hear. This engine wasn't legendary, it was broken. That's how it died. Why did Harley treat it like a whisper? Bulletin versus recall. It drafted a bulletin that refused to recall. Why? When the first service bulletins about oil starvation quietly appeared, Harley's dealers were told to reassure customers that minor oil transfer was expected behavior. The fate was simple on paper, no big deal, a different oil pump. Maybe an update to the software controlling the system, but what the company didn't tell riders was that those changes only masked the problem. They didn't solve it, and because it was a bulletin, not a recall, company didn't have to notify owners directly. No letter, no headline, just silence. For the uninitiated, a bulletin is internal guidance, a visual path between dealerships and the manufacturer. Carries no legal weight, no obligation to act, and no public record of accountability. A recall, on the other hand, is a confession. It admits something went wrong. Harley chose the whisper. That decision saved millions of dollars in recall costs, but cost the brand something far greater: trust. Riders who learned of the bulletin only after catastrophic failure realized they'd been deliberately excluded from the tour. It's one thing to miss a defect, it's another to disguise it under paperwork. Even long-time dealers felt pressure. Some confessed anonymously that corporate officers discouraged them from using the word defect. Instead, they were told to call it customer sensitivity. Those two words might have sounded harmless in an email, but on the road, they translated into seized engines and shattered loyalty. Harley drew its line, not between right and wrong, but between profit and responsibility. That choice reveals where they drew the line. Behind your wallet, evidence in a courtroom. They think they can hide behind legal jargon. We have receipts. Once the internal bulletin surfaced online, our firm Ishmael, what riders had already felt for years. Negligence. Early lawsuits began forming across several states, each alleging the same pattern. Harley knew about the Milwaukee-Eight's oil starvation issues and failed to act. Oil's gathered testimony from mechanics, engineers and owners who documented repeated breakdowns. Some of those cases showed the same components replaced multiple times under warranty, yet Harley never issued a recall. Instead, they appealed claims quietly, settling complaints one by one. It's a bigger story buried, but in the digital age, nothing stays buried for long. Screenshots, service bulletins, dealer memos, and customer complaints flooded online forums, forming a living archive of evidence. Attorneys compared serial numbers, build dates, and parts with patterns emerged. Sharp manufacturing batches showed higher failure rates, and every internal memo hinted that the company knew it. Regulators at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration began reviewing the claim. If the evidence proves that Harley deliberately downplayed a safety-critical defect, the fallout could work in effect. What's striking isn't just the paperwork, it's the people. Riders who once wore Harley tattoos on their arms are now plaintiffs in class action suits. Not outsiders trying to bring the company down, they're insiders demanding accountability. When a culture rooted in loyalty turns to litigation, that's not betrayal, it's self-defense. Let them try to buy silence when the evidence hits the dock. Riders become investigators. Ordinary owners started mapping failures, VIN by VIN, bill by bill. If Harley wouldn't trace the problem, the community would. Riders began creating shared spreadsheets, listing serial numbers, production year, mileage, and engine failure. Patterns appeared almost immediately. Specific factory runs, identical oil pump part numbers, similar failure mileage. Independent mechanics cross-check data, posting photos of sheet bearing and cracked cases in garages across America. Harley community was building the most detailed failure database the company never wanted to see. What made it powerful wasn't technology, it was solidarity. Riders who had never met began comparing notes by detective, ranking across states and continents. A retired engineer in Wisconsin built a model explaining how the scavenger stage in the oil pump habitated at high temperature. A rider in Texas translated that theory into a practical test, proving it on his own back. The data spread to Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia, showing the same issue worldwide. Harley could no longer claim isolated reports. The evidence was in the hands of the people. That's the irony. Harley's greatest strength has always been its riders. And now those same riders have become the company's most formidable investigators. They aren't waiting for press releases. They're demanding the answer. Armed with oil-stained gloves and hard facts, they're proving that loyalty isn't blind, it's protective. This time, brotherhood that once defended the brand is defending itself. Now that we're organized, they'll have to look us in the eye. Brand I love, trust I lost. You ruled Harley as a family legacy. Now many of us feel betrayed. For decades, these bikes weren't just machines, they were milestones. Fathers passed them down to sons. Friends rebuilt them together. Every ride felt like carrying a piece of American history. Owning a Harley meant belonging to something larger than yourself. A brotherhood defined by chrome, thunder, and loyalty. But that same loyalty has now turned into hybrid. Riders who once defended the company at every bar rally are questioning everything they believed about the brand. When word of the Milwaukee-Eight hit and fall, back, betrayal cut deep. Some riders sold their bikes out of fear, others held on out of love, hoping Harley would make things right. But every unanswered email, every denied warranty claim, every dealer shrug felt like another slap in the face. A name that once symbolized freedom now reminds them of corporate silence. You can hear it in their voices. Men and women who once bragged about their bikes now speak with sorrow. They still love the sound, the feel, the legacy. But love without trust isn't enough. In garages across the country, those orange and black banners hang heavy, representing not pride, but disappointment. Brand that once united generations is now dividing them. When loyalty or real, money follows. Harley's value isn't faithful. Your bike value isn't just in parts, it's in faith. That crashing too. For years, Harley held their value better than almost any other motorcycle on the market. A used road glide or straight glide was as much an investment as it was a passion. But in the wake of the engine scandal, resale values are sliding fast. Dealers are slashing trade-in offers. Auctions are flooded with listings, and the owners are discovering that the machine they once saw as a treasure is now a liability. It's not just about the money, it's about what that drop represents. Resale value reflects trust. And when trust collapses, so does the market. Buyers are cautious, lenders are skeptical, and even insurance companies are reevaluating risk. Some dealers quietly admit that the Milwaukee-Eight is scaring off customers. Potential buyers ask, is this one of the bad engines? Before they even look at the paint. Harley's reputation, once its strongest currency, is now its heaviest bet. But the rider's still making payments. The situation feels like betrayal. On top of betrayal, they're upside down on loans for bikes that may fail. Inward thousands twice that it's like that's not depreciation, it's disillusionment. And while Harley tries to stabilize the market with limited warranties and PR promises, numbers don't fly. Brand's equity is bleeding faster than oil through a cracked wire. But if trust fly, investors won't stay quiet. Boardroom panic over a bike. Executives are sweating. Because we're not just angry, we built with our wallets. Inside Harley's boardroom, the conversation has shifted from expansion to survival. By nature, we're built show declining sales, plummeting stock prices, and a wave of negative press. For decades, brand's identity was a drama. Heritage, authenticity, rebellion. But that armor is cracked, and the numbers prove it. Investors who once celebrated Harley as an American icon now whisper words like restructuring and liability. Insiders say leadership meetings have grown tense. Department heads argue over whether they issue another recall. Tyranny could spark more lawsuits. Marketing teams scramble to repair the brand image while engineers rush to design the next generation engine that can restore confidence. Meanwhile, riders keep walking away. Brand foundation, trust in community, shifting beneath its feet. And when the people who built your legend stop believing, no corporate statement can patch the hole. Harley's top brass are learning what riders already knew. Reputation isn't built in press releases, it's built on the world. Every lost rider means a lost sale, a lost story, and a lost future. Panic isn't just about dollar, it's about identity. Boardrooms can sense it now. The roar they once saw has turned against them. When boardrooms tremble, regulators sharpen their knives. Capitol Hill isn't ignoring us. We're not just riders, we're citizens demanding answers. When enough people raise their voices, even Washington listens. What began as online frustration has reached lawmakers' desks. Safety regulators and members of Congress are now asking how long Harley knew about the Milwaukee-Eight effects and why it failed to act. Committees are reviewing documentation. Some representatives have already called for hearing. For the first time in years, Harley-Davidson isn't just facing the court of public opinion, it's facing the court of law. Behind the scenes, lobbyists are scrambling to protect the company's image, but the tide has turned. Riders who felt powerless now see their testimony being cited in safety reports. Videos of engine failures are being shown to officials who can demand accountability. This isn't just a mechanical issue anymore. It's a matter of consumer rights and corporate transparency. When a company shows safety and delivers rails, it becomes a political problem. For Harley, the stakes are higher than ever. Congressional scrutiny means numbers, documents, and internal communications could become public record. When that happens, no amount of brand nostalgia will save them from the truth. Riders started this fight on the highway.
But it's ending in Washington. Justice at last is idling at the gate. They've opened doors. Now the fight moves to hearings. Our hands built this. Now they own the silence. On the factory floor, pride turned to hiding. Workers have stories too. Inside the walls of Harley's plants in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, the people who once took pride in every bolt and crankshaft are now keeping their heads down. They've watched executives deny what they see every day. Oil leaks, part shortages, rejected batches quietly reboxed and pushed down the line. For decades, Harley workers were the backbone of American craftsmanship. They built these bikes with the same passion that riders feel when they twist the throttle. But when the Milwaukee-Eight problems surfaced, that pride began to crack. Workers recall whispered orders to push flawed engines through despite tiny defects. They noticed patterns early, but were told to stay quiet. Speaking up risked jobs, pensions, and families. These weren't villains. They were survivors in a system where silence meant survival. Now, a few brave voices from inside the plants are stepping forward, revealing that the cover-up wasn't just corporate, it was cultural. It's the same culture that once built legends but now hides mistakes behind loyalty oaths and non-disclosure agreements. They know what went wrong. They also know who told them not to talk about it. They know what went wrong and why it was swept under. Rivals smell vulnerability. Indian, BMW, even the electric upstarts are circling Harley's pain. Competitors see opportunity where Harley sees chaos. chaos. Indians' marketing teams wasted no time releasing new campaigns that highlight heritage without compromise. BMW's touring division is quietly expanding in North America, promising reliability and innovation, two words Harley used to own. And electric brands like Zero and Livewire are trying to lure younger riders by selling freedom without the fumes. The competition smells blood in the water, and they're moving fast. Dealers see it happening. Loyal Harley riders now test Indians and Triumphs, seeking trust over tradition. It's not betrayal, it's survival. They crave reliability, modern engineering, and honesty. Values rivals now promise loudly, while Harley struggles to remember what those once meant. For Harley, this isn't just a marketing problem, it's an existential one. The company is fighting on two fronts, rebuilding trust with its riders while defending its territory from brands that no longer fear the legend. And here's the irony. Competition might save Harley more than it hurts it. Pressure forces change. Maybe losing a few sales is what it takes for Milwaukee to remember why riders fell in love in the first place. But competition is the least of our worries now. The rules might force truth. We ride on highways. The laws demand safety. That's where policy meets power. Regulators have begun treating the Milwaukee-Eight scandal not as an isolated incident, but as a warning sign for the entire motorcycle industry. In Washington, federal transportation officials are drafting proposals that could make mechanical transparency a legal requirement. That means companies would have to disclose failure data faster and face penalties for concealing known defects. What began as a single corporate scandal might soon reshape every manufacturer's obligations. Consumer safety groups demand riders receive the same recall protections as car owners. States are expanding lemon laws to include motorcycles, giving riders leverage for refunds or replacements. It's accountability Harley resisted, but this wave of justice can no longer be avoided. Behind closed doors, Harley's lobbyists are fighting to limit new rules, warning that tougher oversight could hurt profits. But for once, the balance of power isn't in the company's favor. The outrage of thousands of owners, combined with public evidence of internal deception, has turned the tide. If Washington follows through, Harley won't just answer to its riders, it'll answer to the law. The oversight they sidestepped might finally corner them. What every rider should do now. If your engine acts up, don't stay silent. Let this scandal be your weapon. Riders have learned the hard way that silence only protects the powerful. Every complaint filed, every video uploaded, every story shared adds pressure. The Milwaukee-Eight controversy isn't just a technical failure, it's a rallying point. It's proof that a united riding community can hold even a century-old corporation accountable. When riders speak together, they're louder than any exhaust note Harley ever built. Riders must document every detail, oil changes, service slips, performance issues, and share them publicly. At rallies, online, and in communities, demand transparency and full repair data. The brotherhood that built Harley can rebuild it through truth, unity, and relentless accountability. This fight isn't about destroying Harley-Davidson. It's about saving it from those who forgot what it stands for. Riders built the brand through sweat, trust, and miles. They can rebuild it the same way, by refusing to look away. The roar of the Milwaukee-Eight once symbolized pride. Now it symbolizes purpose. The truth is finally on the road, and it's not stopping for anyone. Because if this confession meant anything, the next move is ours. We rode for pride, but Harley's silence broke that bond. Now it's our turn to be louder than their denial. Subscribe if you believe riders deserve honesty. Like this video to push this story further, and comment your experience below, because your story might save another rider's engine. The road deserves truth, not cover-ups.